Welcome to Manotick StringWorks. Please remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell for more video content. Hey there, welcome back to Manotick StringWorks. So today I want to talk about setting up your Fender Telecaster. So maybe you've just bought one new, not happy with the setup from the store. Maybe you bought one online, same thing, you want to set it up the way you like to play. Or maybe you're just maintaining your guitar. I think most players should be able to maintain their guitars, in a very simple, easy way. So I'm going to show you 5 steps that you must do to get your Fender Telecaster playing well. Let's get started. Alright, so before we get started adjusting guitar, what I would suggest you do is grab a notepad, any notepad, write down a few things. So here I've got neck relief, string height, intonation, so whether we're flat or sharp, first fret, so the nut action, and then your pickup height adjustment. So if you write it down when you start, you'll have an initial sort of set of measurements to compare to, and then at the end, when you write down what you finished with, that'll be your baseline going forward, so you'll know how to adjust your guitar in the future. Or if you give it to someone to work on, you can give them that piece of paper and they'll know what to set it up to your liking, right? So it's a good idea. Write things down. Alright, so I said there were 5 steps. It's the same 5 steps every time. Do them in the same order as well. So we're going to adjust the neck relief, we're going to adjust the string height, we're going to adjust the intonation, then we're going to go and look at the nut action, so the height at the first fret. And if everything's good, we're going to finish up by adjusting the pickup height. So those are the 5 steps. So let's look at each step and what tools you might need for each step as well. Step number 1. So when adjusting the neck relief, so that's the bow in the neck, a neck should have a little bit of a bow in it to allow the strings to vibrate freely and not buzz around on the frets. So you're going to need a couple of things. I recommend a capo, and I also recommend some feeler gauges. Now these feeler gauges, I've got these in 10, 11, and 12 thousandths. I've got the whole range in the drawer, but these are the most common ones that I use. You can buy these at a hardware store, in the automotive section. They're relatively inexpensive. Go on Amazon. You get a whole set of them, right? From basically 1,000ths right up to, about, I'd say about 250 thousandths. So anyways, you can buy these, and like I said, it's a cheap investment to have. You've got them handy, ready to use for your setups. So what's the technique? Well, I've got a capo here, and I'm going to put that on the first fret, but old school, if you take your right hand, your pinky finger, and put it down, right around the last fret, or where the body meets the joint, or the neck joint, wherever you can reach. You're going to hold down on the first fret. You're going to put your pinky down somewhere around the 20, 21st, 22nd fret. And then you can use your thumb if you can reach. So if you can't reach, just slide your hand up a little bit. And so what is this doing? Now I can bounce my thumb on the 7th fret and see if there's spacing there. And I think you can hear that. So there's a little bit of space, so that's good. That means there's relief, right? So what we're doing is creating a straight edge like that with the string as a reference. So here's a little closer look at that technique. So we're going to put the pinky down, press down on the first fret, and then using that thumb, bounce it right on the 7th fret. If you can't reach the 7th, the 8th is fine. And you're going to listen See if that's bouncing. So this is bouncing a little bit. Like I said, there's some relief. So that's one way to do it. So of course that's not giving you a measurement, right? It's just letting you know if there's any relief or not. Now I'm going to put a capo on the first fret. And then I'm going to take a feeler gauge. And in this case with a Telecaster, I like to see 10 thousandths to 12 thousandths of an inch relief at the 7th fret. So we'll start with a 10 thousandths feeler gauge. So again, I'm going to push down where the neck meets the body, right about here. So that's the 19th, 20th fret. And then I'm going to slide that feeler gauge underneath the string and the fret. I think you can hear that. It's just scraping. So that's good. Let me try 12 thousandths. Same thing, press down around the 20th fret. Yeah, so we have good relief here. So again, between 10 and 12 thousandths at the 7th fret. I like that. 10 being the low end, 12 being the high end. Step 2, string height. So on a Fender guitar, so a Telecaster and Stratocaster, we measure at the 17th fret. Fender likes to see 4/64ths at the 17th fret across the strings. So all the strings the same. You can set it up the way you like. So I have a feeler gauge that I've made here, 4/64ths, 1/16th. And when I pass it under the string and the fret, if it doesn't bounce, it just touches, I know I'm at 4/64. So I use this to set up initially and see where we are. So this just a touch high. Now I don't mind a Strat to have, or Tele, where the 6th string, so the bass E, is a little higher, so maybe around 5/64. And you can adjust it the way you like, but that's the recommendation. So the other tool that you might want to purchase is this, a string action ruler. You can get these on Amazon, on StewMac, Solo Guitars in Toronto, lots of places. Many different measurements. You have 64ths of an inch right here. You have millimeters right there. You have thousandths of an inch. You have millimeters. Very handy little tool. Again, not very expensive, you know, anywhere from $15 to $30, that kind of thing. And you use that by placing it across the frets on the fret that you want to measure, and then you can take your reading. So I'll show you that a little closer. Okay, so the guitar is on the workbench, and here is the 17th fret. So I'm going to take the string action ruler and move it along until I'm just sitting on top of the 17th fret on the measurement I'm using, in this case 64ths. And I think we can see that we're just above 4, so almost 5/64. And then you'd move along each string, and then you would adjust the saddle height. So this is quite high. I'm looking at this, and you know, we're at 6/64 as we get to the first string. So we're definitely going to be dropping the action down on this Telecaster. Of course, you can use millimeters. So the millimeter gauge is on this side. It looks to be, you know, we're about 1.5 millimeters, a little higher than that. So whatever you like, millimeters or imperial. I use 64ths, they're a little finer measurements. Alright, so step 3, that's how I do a 3. I don't know about you guys. I don't think I can do it that way. Not too well. So step 3 is the intonation. So here I've got my tuner set up, we're plugged in. So what you're going to be doing is checking the tuning of your guitar, tune up all the strings, and then you're going to check it at the 12th fret. So as an example, let's do the D, right? So we'll get that in tune, relatively speaking. You hit the octave, so you just touch over the 12th fret, don't press down, and then pressing down, not super hard, just press down on the 12th, and you can see we're sharp. On this tuner, right, is showing us sharp. So again, open, harmonic, we're sharp. So that means we have to flatten the string. So we have to pull back the saddle to lengthen the string. And we're going to do that with a screwdriver. So I'm going to get that in there. Oh, of course, it's a vintage style. Has a flathead. So I'm going to get in there. And be careful, make sure you don't scratch anything. So I'm going to pull this saddle back a little bit. So you do it in little increments. Let's do that again. So we should be sharp. So I've tuned it up. Harmonic. That's a little better. So we need to flatten it some more, but I'm going to loosen the strings so that don't put too much tension on them right here. Okay, so I loosened the strings off a little bit, readjusted, so let's have a look at the tuning. Just a little flat. It's the harmonic. Yeah, so that's better. So it's going to be close, right? It's never going to be perfect, and especially with a vintage saddle system on a Telecaster, and I'll show you. So of course on a Telecaster like this with shared saddles, you have to sort of compensate for both at the same time. So that's for the string height. String height is okay, you get the saddle sort of going a little left, a little right. But for your intonation, you're seeing you're sharing the saddle, right? So once you get one intonated, so in this case it was the D string, then check the G, and just off camera here, I'm just going to look at it. Yeah, it's pretty sharp. So still would have to go back, but again, I'm going to have to share that intonation a little bit. So in this case, you would just, find a middle ground between these two strings. And you're going to have to do that for the first, second, third, fourth, and the fifth and sixth. So once you've got the intonation as close as you can get it or happy with, leave it alone. Don't touch it. Alright, step number 4, 4 fingers, is the action at the first fret, or the nut action. So we want to make sure that we don't have to press down too hard when we're playing these open, these cowboy chords, if you will, but around this area. So this makes it very difficult. So if you press down on the 3rd fret, and then with your other finger press over the 1st fret and see if there's any sort of bounce on the string, and I'll tell you, there's really not much on this at all, if any. Do that again. Yeah. So again, feeler gauges come out. I've got 18, 20, and 22. So for guitars, I like to see 18 thousandths. So you take your feeler gauge and slip it underneath. Oh, I can't. See that? That means it's lower. I'm going to lift the string up a bit. You're going to see about the A string. Oh, that one goes under, okay. And then back on this side. Yeah, so these strings are fine. It's the 6th string here that's really low. I can't even get that under. Let me get a 10 thousandths. See, it's scraping. That's really low. So that could cause problems with this guitar going forward, because when you strum an open string, oh, I could hear a little buzz there. Right there. So this guitar might need a new nut. But when we change the string, we'll see how it sits in this slot. But that's the kind of thing you're looking for. You want to have these consistent, all the same. So if you pick 18 thousandths as an example, to make sure you do that, and you have to use a nut file in here. So that's something you might not be comfortable with. So you have to have a set of nut files. You have to use the right one. So if you're not comfortable with, adjusting the nut here, I suggest you take it to a service tech, a luthier, someone who knows what they're doing, so they can do it for you. But Okay, well I said there were 5 steps. Can you see that? And this is the last one. So I have to do these in order, and that's the pickup height. So I have a gauge that I've made here. What I like to start off with is 1/8 of an inch underneath the string and the top of the pickup on the bass side, and 3/32 on the treble side. So that's what I have. So you press down on the last fret and try and put your gauge. Well, that doesn't work. Well, that's pretty good here at the back. So let's try the treble side. Nope. Yeah, it's not bad. It could probably come up a little bit. So this, the neck one definitely has to go down. So, screwdriver, Phillips. I like to put my finger on it to make sure I can feel it moving. Sometimes you can't really see it, even if it's a little adjustment, right? Oop. That's not a good thing. So that will have to come down. So, you adjust and play with these a little bit until you're happy. Now these are just recommendations, so you can put these higher, you can put them lower. Too high, it might affect the way the string vibrates. Too low, and you're not going to have as much input. So they're adjustable. That's what they're made to do, is move up and down. So play around with these, but I would leave at least 1/8 of an inch, 3/32. Start there and then play with them the way you like. It does make a difference where you have the pickup set. Alright, so that's just my quick and easy 5 steps. 5 steps to setting up your Fender Telecaster. So we start with the neck relief, move on to the string action, then we do the intonation, 12th fret and the saddles, then we check the nut action here at the 1st fret, and then the last thing is to adjust the pickup height. And once you've done that, which I'm going to do on this guitar now, you should have something that plays pretty well. This one's out of tune. The string action's too high. But I'm going to go ahead and fix that. So thanks again for watching. I hope this helps you out a little bit. Take care. See you next time.